Guess what I started reading last night? Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez, and wow. Okay, so I put this off for a long time because people said that this has a trope where the main characters, they get into a one-night stand like a couple of hours after they meet. And I think that's the reason why I have put off reading this, because I really do not like that trope. But then I'm so glad when I read it that it didn't matter to me because it was a closed door one-night stand. Yeah, it's not described in page. It just happened in one line, and then that's it. So I was like, okay, so it seems to me I've figured out that I am okay with characters getting physical if I don't if I don't read about it, if I don't see it. Yeah. And I said to myself last night, okay, I'd read probably a chapter or two, and I'm already in chapter 8, and that is like 10% of the book. Yeah, so it's early in the morning. She woke up. First of all, okay, Daniel is a walking green flag. Such a respectful guy. I am surprised. Well, am I surprised? Sort of, yeah. Usually the guys that I read on books, the main male characters, they are dirtbags, simply put. But he is so, like, okay, he seems like the perfect lumberjack boyfriend, okay? Basically, that is his character, and I don't mind that he is not flawed. Like, I'm pretty sure the challenge would come over here. Like, it's still early days, but the biggest issue that Alexis is the main female character, she sees is that she is a decade older than this guy, and of course she cannot have that. And of course the guy doesn't really care that she's older than him. Like, he could have guessed it, I guess. But it doesn't matter to him. And this, I don't know, I really like the chemistry between these two characters. Better than the chemistry of these characters that on this book that Abby Jimenez wrote. This is the first Abby Jimenez book that I read back in April. Yeah. So even in that book, I know, like, I had a feeling that I would like Abby Jimenez because her writing is so good. She is funny, okay? She knows how to inject that humor into her books, which is great. The best friend is so funny. I love best friends. Like, when they are the funny characters in the book, like, giving me that comic relief sidekick vibes. Really good. There's one thing though that I would have to say that Abby Jimenez still needs to work on. It is her way of creating this fictional world into something more believable. So, for example, I had the same issue with this book. There is something about Happy Ever After playlist that did not work for me because it was towing the line between this fictional world. So obviously she writes contemporary fiction, and the stories usually contain some sort of fictional hospital or a fictional, in the case of Happy Ever After playlist, like a fictional superstar, rock star. But even so, I feel like she still needs to work on that because, okay, I know I have to suspend my disbelief because this is a fictional piece of work, right? I can just pretend that this is not, like in the case of this book, there is a hospital. Okay, so our main character, she is a doctor, and she comes from a family of, like, a legacy of doctors. Her family has been in this hospital for generations, and her ancestors basically were pioneers of medical innovation and all that. And so this hospital always has a Montgomery, so Alexis Montgomery. They always have a Montgomery in their hospital, like being in the staff. Okay, there's always a Montgomery in the staff. In the book, it seems like this hospital is such a big deal, but I feel like it's being overdone, or it's a little bit too much for me to believe that this hospital could be real. I mean, obviously it's not real, but there are writers who can create these institutions or maybe even characters that are not real, but you don't have to actively suspend your disbelief. In fact, you even feel like you want to believe that these characters exist. First person that comes to mind is Taylor Jenkins Reid. Have you read Daisy Jones and the Six? The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo? Or Carrie Soto is back. I have not read Malibu Rising yet because it's the last Taylor Jenkins Reid book I have not yet read, and I'm trying to save it. Okay, I'm going to read it when she is coming out with her new books. Because I cannot live in a world where I don't have a TJR book in my TBR. Okay, anyway, so that's where I think Abby Jimenez needs to work on. Oh yeah, by the way, this mentions a character from this, and I kind of like that because you know, I like it when the author puts their characters in the same universe. So I appreciate that. And there is a mention of Taylor Swift. So like I said, she is coming from a family of legacy doctors. Her best friend said, oh, remember that time when Forbes called your family the last great American dynasty, and then Taylor Swift wrote a song about that? And obviously it's not. But this is what I mean by this towing the line of going a little bit overboard for me to believe. Like, I mean, I appreciate the mention of Taylor Swift, and I believe Abby Jimenez is like a huge music, I mean, obviously this book I read from her is about a playlist, so there's song recommendations per chapter, right? That is where it takes me out a little bit regarding her career. But the banter, the chemistry, the funniness of the minor characters, especially the best friend Bree. So I will be making an update, I don't know when, but yeah, I'm in this book right now. This is what I'm currently reading. Okay, so I'm over halfway through this book, and actually I read something that last night that sort of solidifies this for me. Well, at least for me, like a 5-star book right now. There are 2 quotes that I have tabbed, which I think are so amazing. And so the first quote that I really liked is this one. I'll read it, okay? And here was Daniel doing what he felt was the right thing, refunding the whole weekend. He was in the worst position to be generous, yet he was. And she was in the best position to show grace, and she didn't. She's talking about her friend. And doing it would have cost her nothing. And that was a fundamental difference between them. That says a lot about the character of Daniel, and also the friends, so-called friends, that she is hanging out with. And this surprises me because her friends are such snobs. And I like how she has reflected, like, have I been living my life the same way as these people? Like, I can't even, like, or even would I have reacted this way if we weren't talking to Daniel, if we're dealing with some other guy that I'm not interested in? But I like that. It's so easy for us, for people, to choose to be mean and to be unforgiving. For example, when we rate, let's say, restaurants on our like food app services, or when we rate writers. For me personally, if I have nothing good to say, like if I was not satisfied with the service I was given, and it's nothing that actively, like if the rider, if the driver, let's say, did not actively offend me in any way, I would not rate. Okay, let's just say if I find his car a little bit stinky or unkept, I would just skip rating altogether. But if a rider is like, if a driver is like really polite and all that, I give it 5 stars all the time, no problem. And I think that was the main issue here. Like, it's so easy to be mean. Okay, this is a person's livelihood that you are rating, okay? And you're gonna rate them this score because you were unsatisfied, but you also don't think about how that is gonna affect their business. And that's the same thing that I do for, like, let's say I order from Shopee or Lazada and I'm not satisfied. I do not leave. Maybe I will give it a 4-star, but I would never give a store like 1 star. I don't know. It's so easy to be nice. It's so easy to be generous. And I like how it was highlighted in that passage that there are people who can afford to be generous, but they choose to not be generous. And there are people who are not in the position to be generous. Like Daniel, in this moment, he needs money. Something happened and he needs money, but still, because he thought that he didn't give a good service, he complimented their stay, which is mind-blowing to Alexis because she doesn't think that he should have done that. Okay, so that was the first quote. I was like, oh wow, like that made me look at humanity a little bit. Okay, the second quote, oh my gosh, I love this. Okay, so she wasn't really okay, yeah, so this is sorry, before I get into that, what is different about Abby Jimenez and other rom-com books? I realized that her books have this themes that are quite not as, like, if I show you this rom-com, this is sort of like coming of age, and it's funny, but also it doesn't go as deep as this. The topics in here, and actually the way that she plots her books, I think here in Happy Ever, oh no, I flipped my books. Let me try to remember which one is Happy Ever After. I think it's, okay. Happy Ever After playlist it contained themes of depression and being addicted to drugs, I believe. Okay, I was running out of battery. The next quote this one made me rethink my rating for this. It is when she was getting pissed at her ex and her dad. So her dad really likes her ex because the ex is a neurosurgeon, and the dad, doesn't think that her daughter has what it takes to be a great doctor. Like, he legit called her a glorified paramedic because she works as an ER doctor and not as a surgeon as he would have wished. So she like, despite her parents knowing that her ex cheated on her, like, they're okay with that. They're telling her to, like, oh, forgive him, please. But actually there's a bigger underlying issue that she's not sharing with her parents. And it's quite apparent that she doesn't have this very open relationship with her parents, because I feel like ever since she was young, her brother and her, they were both expected to grow up as these people, these doctors who will continue the legacy in that hospital. So there's that, right? Okay, and anyway, she was so annoyed because the ex wants to get back together with her for certain reasons, and she's like, no, I'm not gonna do that anymore. And then she was just so angry, so she left. So she went back to Daniel's town, which is 2 hours away from her place. She went there, and then he was just gardening, and they're happy, and then they talked, blah blah blah. And then one of Daniel's friends called, and then one of their friends apparently was giving birth. I mean, yeah, she was having contractions, but then the nearest hospital is like in a town, okay, and basically they won't make it. So they originally called Daniel because, you know, he's sort of the mayor of that place and he knows what to do. And luckily, when they called, Alexis was there, and then so Alexis was like saying these things, oh, scissors and prepare food clamps, boil those too, make sure they are sterilized, prepare me some clean towels and all that. Like, she is telling them what to prepare for this emergency birth. And then she came, and then she was talking to the girl, and then throughout the process of her trying to deliver this baby, she noticed that the baby is sort of in trouble, I would say. Okay, so it's in trouble, and then I would like you to read that by yourself because it's a really nice scene. Okay, and then eventually the baby was fine. She delivered the baby, and then Daniel even said, like, so you can't peel potatoes, but you can deliver a baby, because like she doesn't know how to do any chores and all that. Anyway, this is what she said. Okay, this is the quote that really got me. The baby could have brain damage. So there was something that happened, right? So the baby could have brain damage, cerebral palsy, epilepsy, intellectual or developmental disabilities. She might have died, but she didn't because I was here. This is why I did what I did. In moments like this, I knew I was doing what I was meant to do. Moments like this made me know that no matter what Dad said, there was honor in my specialty, even if there wasn't glory. Just imagine how true this is. Like, I got up and I'm like, wow. And this is the part where I was like thinking, okay, I don't think I have a choice. I have to give this book 5 stars. Alexis being like humbled by Daniel in a way that he doesn't even intend to do that, right? He's not intending to humble her, but here she is realizing how different life is for her. And also the fact that, like, if you think about it, like in life in general, there are a lot of jobs that don't seem like they have glory. Well, not that they don't seem like they really don't have glory. Like, if you let's say you're a street sweeper, or if you're a vendor, if you work like in the service industry, people would not think you have like a wonderful job. No, it's just the reality. What people perceive as to be jobs that have glory in them are the white collar jobs. Like if you're a doctor, a lawyer, an astronaut, whatever. Like, those are the careers that have bells and whistles to them, right? And that is what her dad, Alexis's dad, cares about. But then, I'm not saying that those jobs don't have honor. Of course they do. But also, to recognize that there are jobs there that though they are not, there's no glory in, is very honorable. In some cases, even motherhood is not a job that is a job. It's not actually a job, but it sort of is, you know. It's not glorified. Like, sometimes it can be looked down upon because some people will say, oh, why did she get married? Sayang naman. Like, she's very smart, but then sayang naman, right? She got married, now she has to take care of kids. Her career has halted because of that situation, because she has to rear her family. Like, it's not glorified in that way. But there is so much honor in being a mom. And here's my son coming right when I say that being a mother is honorable. So yeah, they do know when I'm about to talk about children. Yeah. Okay, so anyway, right now, it's a 5 stars. Okay, I don't know if something will happen in the end that will take that away. But yeah, I know that this is a 5-star book now because I'm able to overlook that thing with the hospital and the legacy doctors thing that is seemingly so impossible for me. But I'm willing to overlook it. Because the insights in this book is too good. Hi, so last night I officially finished Part of Your World and I'm giving it 4.75 stars, okay? Because towards the end, I was starting to feel that, okay, this is my deal with Abby Jimenez. She always wraps her stories in like a sort of too neatly tied ribbon. I'm forgetting the idiom for that. But yeah, it's like, it's almost seems like too good to be true. Like it's too perfect of an ending that it starts to feel like it's taking away from the story. That's how it feels, honestly. And I understand that this is a rom-com and it's supposed to have a happy ending, but I would have to say Emily Henry does it better. Her endings are better. They are not too perfect, but they are just right. Her endings don't feel like it's kissing up to you, okay? That's my experience with Abby Jimenez. So I've read 2 of her books. It feels like when she writes the ending, she really wants you to be super, super happy. And it sort of undermines a little bit the journey. I would have to say, if I would compare these 2 rom-com authors, I would say Abby Jimenez has better banter. They both have good humor. I love the best friend character, but the ending, Emily Henry wins a little bit, and she needs to work on that. I like the parallels that she has seen with her parents and her family, and the parallels between Alexis's life and Daniel's life. I really like that. And yeah, it's actually really good. In Goodreads, I gave it 5 stars because the 0.75, you know, that's almost 5 stars. And I usually would put 4 stars, but I really think that this deserves to have a 5. It deserves a high rating it's getting from the readers in Goodreads. So I don't want to be the one that, you know, pulls the score down. And like what I learned from this book, grace costs nothing. Writing a book is so hard. Like if I feel that the author made an effort to get this book right and did some research and all that, yeah, okay. 5 stars. That is it for this reading vlog, and I don't know what the next vlog will be, as always. Okay, bye.